What's up, everybody? It's JM Cam, Productive Culture, and you're watching Untapped Hip Hop TV.
I've been out here on my own. I've been trying to.
I'm Darel Carey. I grew up in Colton, California, in the IE. I was born in Curacao, which is an island in the Caribbean. And it was only because my mom went there to have me. It was because my grandparents were doctors and that's where they lived. I'm an artist. So I'll have to start back from when I got out of high school. I went to high school in Colton High. Right after high school, I happened to be at the Galleria in Tyler Mall. Went to Hot Topic and I saw an old friend. Her name was Kathy. She was also an artist, like she used to draw as well, you know, so I remembered her from like elementary school and a little bit of high school, you know, like we were in like gate together in 6th grade. And so she used to like to draw too. So, you know, when she saw me, when I saw her on Hot Topic, when you first get out of high school, you start seeing other people, other, adults now, living their life, like, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you since high school, isn't this weird, this being an adult thing, So anyway, I saw her, she told me she had just started tattooing and convinced me to to check it out, because it sounded intriguing to me. She said to, come chat with me, come check out what I'm doing, follow it. And she also wanted, she knew that I drew also. So she was like, hey, why don't you, pick it up, start tattooing or something like that. I was like, okay, so I was interested. Followed it around to her friends' houses and stuff. She was just starting herself, and I liked it. She convinced me to get a kit, so I got my own tattoo kit and everything. Started doing it myself. I did like these on myself, experimenting. And there came to a point where she got a job at a shop, and then I couldn't hang out much longer with her because. The manager of the shop, didn't want people just hanging out there. So I left, and then from then, and that was in San Bernardino, and I left. I lived in San Diego for 1 year before I got in the military. 2007, after I did a stint, like one term in the Air Force, I retrained to learn Chinese. So I was in Monterey again, just re-signed, so I had another 6 years to go. And so for the last several years, I hadn't been watching any TV. So while I was up in Monterey, at that time, my aunt had a timeshare in Napa Valley, and she asked if I wanted to go there because they were going somewhere else. So if I just wanted to spend the weekend there, so I went up there to Napa, just a little house. I was by myself, just hanging out. It's kind of quiet, peaceful area. And I just turned on the TV, and I saw a commercial of like a tattoo show, Miami Ink. And I saw my friend, Kathy. She was on the show. She was like the star of the show. She was like moving to LA to have a new show, LA Ink, So I was like tripping out. I was like, what? That's Kathy, So it's if you haven't figured it out yet, it's Kat Von D. So for me, that moment was like an inception of my epiphany, because I was thinking of where we were at one point, somebody I knew, somebody I kind of grew up with, like it's not like we were like super close friends, but just somebody I knew, for me it was an interesting thing to see somebody that was kind of at a similar place that I was, someone who liked art, liked to draw, and then started pursuing something, in the realm they liked, so she started tattooing. We started near the same time in doing that, and then like I left, got in the military, got a job, a career, while she kind of continued to pursue what she loved to do, and succeeded at it, because she had her show and everything, So to me, that like hit home for me, because I'd never really thought about it that way, or thought of it as a possibility, as something to pursue, a real life pursuit, So, after I saw the commercial and I thought about it, it really made me, ultimately made me think I should pursue art. Otherwise, I'll regret not trying, So when I came here to Otis, if you look at like the work I did while I was here, it's kind of all over the place, So even like before the tattooing, before I was doing, I was drawing. I used to draw a lot. I like realism, like drawing portraits or still life, things like that. I used to like to draw birds of prey, for example, like hawks, eagles, things like that, owls. So I knew I liked to draw that, but I didn't know what I wanted to do or what art was. So I figured the fine arts department. I was actually in between fine arts and digital, and graphic design, as far as deciding which department to go into. Because throughout, even though I wasn't really pursuing art, like while I was in the military, while I was in school, I still would do like a logo for a shirt, or somebody's shirt design, or a logo for like a club on school or something, even a mural here and there, like while I was in the Air Force, but just nothing. Like I didn't have anything like, I guess, my own. So Lehigh was kind of part of that, kind of fits right into that, that journey of me trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I grew up, with a hip hop influence. Grew up listening to hip hop music. I was a graffiti artist. I used to draw pieces, spray can. I used to draw a lot too, like characters and things like that. I used to DJ. I used to DJ house and hip hop, and I used to break too in like junior high, early high school, but I didn't keep doing that. So from there, I kind of went on to the DJing, and then from there, kind of went on to graffiti, or actually graffiti more, and then DJing. So I kind of had that background. And when I was like, that period of time when I was, in the military, but thinking about how I was going to pursue art, I was trying to think of different ways, to do it. So part of my experimenting, like while I was here at Otis doing fine arts, that same time, like I had launched Lehigh that same year. So I launched Lehigh 2012. So get out of the military, start Lehigh, start art school. So I was kind of doing everything at once, just trying to figure out what am I trying to do, what I want to do. So I knew at least that I, love hip hop and I want to do something in there. So I figured, okay, I'll spread out, my artwork, with graphics on shirts. So I'll try that, And Lehigh, that has to do too with the language. When I was in learning Chinese, for part of my work, Lehigh is actually a Chinese word, and it means kind of like fierce and powerful. It's kind of the meaning, and I like the way it sounded, like how and it's kind of context too, so like it could be terrible too, Lehigh. So like if there's like a crazy hurricane that's been like stronger than any other ones, you could say it's Lehigh, or if somebody's like really robust, like a b-boy on the floor, just does like the craziest 90, like I don't know, 10 90s in a row or something, or some crazy air flares, and you could say that's Lehigh too, so that's kind of the background of the name. So I figured I'd use that, a little bit of that influence, in what I was doing, so I kind of had like hip hop theme, like a little bit like an Asian, loose Asian theme to it, aside from just hip hop. Yeah, so I had a couple of design ideas and I ran with them, and went to a lot of b-boy events, graffiti battles, DJ battles, and sold my shirts and hats and things like that. So I like the way that simple drawings can be elusive to the way our brain, like I'm into perception and spatial perception and things like that. And Necker cubes, how you can see one thing in different ways. That's one of the things I really liked about Escher's work. I kind of went along with those kind of interests that I have. So I've always, like I took a class here too. Actually, it was called Psychology of Seeing, and that was very interesting to me because it's like how what you visualize, what you look at, like what does it look like to you, or is your brain kind of tricked by what it is? And so to me, the simplicity of just drawing lines next to each other and it looking different, like looking like it's something else, or looking like it's 3D when it's not, just kind of tapping into how we see or why we see things the way we do. Like our brain kind of just looks for patterns and just puts things together and like, oh, this must be a cube right here, because that's what I see. That's what your eyes and brain kind of do, like it kind of shortcuts to what it thinks it should be just based on how things look. So I'm interested in things like that. And then as far as using like the tape to make lines, we had a group show here for my senior year, my studio space, and we decided to grid up the room, the whole gallery space, and I kind of ended up doing most of the taping. So we taped up a grid space through the whole room, and the idea was to kind of have all our artwork on the grid or in the grid. And while I was doing that, I kind of, I liked working with the tape. It was like a nice medium, and it kind of dawned on me like, hey, I should, I could make my whole art piece, doesn't have to be on the tape, it could be the tape, itself, because it's like a nice way to, you could pretty much draw with tape, and then you could take it down same day, So my piece for that show ended up being a tape piece. It was like a cube in the corner. It looked like a cubic kind of portal, like standing in the corner only when you look at it from a certain vantage point. But then you walk around it, you see it's just flat, so it looks like it's kind of coming out of the wall, So I enjoy making stuff like that, and from then on, that's when I started thinking about more and more how to do something with that, because I was like exploring, what I want to do with art and things like that. I guess the way that I view the art that I do, I guess, who I choose to work with, how often I make the pieces. It's all about context, substance of what I'm doing, and then the context of how I'm doing it, where I'm doing it, and why I'm doing it. Just try to pay attention to all those things. And then, presentation. So when it comes to social media, even the way that I do that, I kind of, I don't just kind of willy-nilly just post whatever, however, I kind of try to pay attention to, the way I'm putting my stuff out there, Yeah, and of course, keep doing good work. And it's like every time I get an opportunity, it usually leads to something else, so it kind of builds on itself. For me, it's kind of all I got to do is keep consistent. So for me, most of the time when I'm contacted, and the kind of work that I will do is not compromising my art. So you know, when a company, you know, say wants me to do something in their building or for a commercial or something like that, it's in the context of they want me to do my work, you know. So I just do my thing, you know. So I don't have to treat everything, you know, differently, really, you know. And I turn down jobs where people want me to kind of do kind of a designy thing where like where I'm putting somebody's logo on something, you know, or something like that. Like, to me, that's like too far from like what I'm doing, you know. So I just keep the art pure and don't compromise on that, and everything kind of just falls into place. So when I'm doing it for myself, you know, whether I'm doing it for myself or you know, this company or that company, I always want it to be, you know, the best that I can do, and then also kind of stay true to the art that I'm doing, you know. But you know, there are times, you know, sometimes, yeah, it's like an amazing opportunity, like, you know, I'm just like kind of mind blown, like who I'm working with, and I want to do my best, of course. So I feel now like there's more clarity in what I'm doing, and I feel like, you know, what's the word, like fortunate, you know, that I'm able to do, you know, what I want to do, what my passion is, and be able to live, you know, be able to sustain myself, you know, make a living, be successful doing what I love to do. There's a lot of things I really want to do, and some are in the fine art world, you know, some are in like, you know, I want to do like I'd like to make a movie, you know, I'd like to get into movies somehow, but to me, to pursue that right, I would need the time, you know, to approach that. You know, that's one thing on my list of things that I really want to do. That I want to do like a comic strip of some sort, or cartoon or something like that, you know, like have some like humorous ideas.
I'll talk to you after that.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of things I still want to do. I mean, you know, Lehigh, of course, you know, and then aside from, you know, visual art, you know, I've been, I used to DJ, like last year I was into scratching again, you know, like, and I haven't been able to kind of keep that up. I want to get back into that, you know. And then as far as like art and content, you know, I feel like the lines and things I'm doing right now, mostly black and white, I can expand on that and do more and experiment more. I just keep creating, and I want, you know, people to appreciate the art, you know, for what it is, you know. I feel satisfied that I'm contributing to a field, you know, that I love, and you know, it's being appreciated, you know. So to me, I feel like I'm doing my part, you know. What you don't want to do is regret not trying something that you're passionate about. So for me, it's try it, do, create, you know, like try to find your place in the, you know, in the universe, and, you know, have at it, try it out, experiment. The easiest place to find me, to see my work all in kind of one place, is probably my Instagram account. So it's at Darel Carey. You can also go to my website, which is darelcarey.com. Yeah, and then like my contact information's on those platforms. So if you wanted to contact me about getting, you know, a commission or work done, things like that, feel free.
Look at my words.